The cult of Odd loves the Tremors movies. It was something Odd shared with his late mother. In fact, just before she passed, they watched the entire collection of movies. Since we've been bringing you other podcasters and media types, Odd got the chance to speak with a podcaster named Levi. Levi runs the Talking Tremors podcast. One of the few to have Stampede Entertainment's seal of approval. Levi is an energetic and chaotic fun type of guy. He has a background in theater and bringing good times. Talking Tremors is a fun and sometimes wild ride, but if you're a fan of the movies, then you'll love every minute of it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest is Levi from Talking Tremors. Levi, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's hot here, but
it's hot everywhere right now, man.
Yeah, it was the jump that's killing me. Last week I was in sweaters, and this week it's all shorts. Just like, holy shit.
No, you live somewhere north or Midwest.
I'm in Iowa.
Okay, I'm in Michigan, so yeah.
Oh yeah. It's all the Midwest. Honestly, all the states here, we all get the same thing.
All right, so I ask all my podcast interviews the same question: why podcasting?
Honestly, because video editing is so much harder. If you've watched the Zoran Gavojik kill counts, the dead meat, I'd love to be able to do what he does, but I can't. Even James and all that, like that's just so fucking hard. What I can do is have a focused ramble on a podcast, and that's where I take copious notes. Like if I ever get you on a podcast, I'll go through your whole life and just like check out things and take copious notes, but then just ramble the fuck on it and edit it later. It's much easier on the edit, usually just the beginning and checking some things in between. But
well, if you do have me on, I actually have a press kit that I send to all my people, so I've done a lot of the note taking for you.
I was gonna say you're on 80 episodes, it looked like already. So
73.
Oh yeah, I rounded up. Okay. I imagine there's more episodes we haven't seen like before that. So
well, yeah, you figure 15 years in the business, so but no, I was actually more interested, like, why did you want to get into podcasting?
The whole like everything that happened to Stampede and Tremors, and just trying to find a way for me personally to actually like do something about it. And that was getting the word about Tremors out there in the best way possible, which I thought was like, oh, I can, like I said, I can do the ramble with the notes and just keep pushing that Stampede Tremors goal like all the time. Like that's like I said, I get off track because it makes me so angry, but everything that happened to them is just like, I would do anything, and that's including start a podcast. Like the Tremor Saga people actually asked me, like I was like, okay, like I will do this. Why the fuck not, guys? And like jump the hell into it. Like that's,
hey,
I don't know.
It's something you're passionate about, and that's what's important when it comes to doing this.
I didn't think that I could talk about Tremors for that many episodes, and I'm already on like almost the 20th one, so it's like, oh, obviously there's something there.
So for those of you that don't know, Tremors, what we're talking about is the movie series that starred the giant worms, or graboids as they're called in the series. And then
ass blasters.
Yeah. The ass blasters. That when they named those, I was like, oh my god, that's great.
It's such a big fuck you to the whole like make the MPA making them take out the curse words in the first one and being like, oh yeah, well now every kid gets to say ass blaster and you can't stop it.
And that is what America is all about, letting kids swear.
Yeah.
No, but the movies were a cultural phenomenon. My love of Tremors started because of my mother. She back in the days when video rental was still a thing, and she rented the first Tremors movie and watched it before me, and then sat me down to watch it with me, because my love of horror movies and stuff comes from my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother, which there is an interesting story, if you do interview me, that I am willing to tell. It is awkward, it is kind of gross, but it is fun. But yeah, so my love for the Tremors movies started there, and it's something something that I was able to share with her throughout the rest of my life. In fact, just before she passed away, we binged all of the movies.
That's nice.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch them again yet. I wanted to prepare for this, so my Tremors knowledge is a little shaky, so forgive me.
No, I was going through your old tweets, like trawling for like things you had said about Tremors, and that one was really sweet. Just like, and yeah, I can't imagine tying in a family member like that all the way with Tremors, and then I can't watch it.
I'll get there eventually. It's just it's a little hard. Like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I can't sit down to watch that. I've been doing I guess exposure therapy when I play video games, because I have a playlist on Spotify that I listen to that has the Rocky Horror Picture Show songs on it. But yeah, I'll eventually get there. But like I said, I wanted to watch the Tremors movies before we did this, but yeah, just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Well, there is a caveat to that. I mean, since you watch the Tremors movies, there's still the Tremors TV show.
Yeah, which we never watched.
You can technically start as a fresh slate or whatever.
Yeah, I that's a good idea, man. Thank you.
And I'm not saying that to plug it. It's more like, oh no, because I really do fucking love Tremors the series too. So if you like the other ones, that one's definitely I love you, Mom. I love you, Chris's mom.
So, what is it about the Tremors movies that captured your love?
I was legit thinking about this just the other day, because it's the horror comedy, and you see it the most in the first one. It's what people talk about with Val and Earl, but how the situation just arises and they're just dealing with it. And it's I'm a huge Sci-Fi Channel original movie fan, so I've seen everyone in the book that way. And Tremors does that lovely thing of like, oh yeah, no, these people don't know what's happening, and they're just responding to it. These are just regular people just banding together, all working. And that's as much as the Burt Gummer people are whatever about, like, I love seeing, yeah, Burt Gummer comes together with everybody else, and they all work together to fight the monsters. It's great as a metaphor for whatever you want to call it like that. But it's like, oh no, I just love regular people coming together to fight monsters together. Honestly, it's the familyness of it. It's the Fast and Furious of monster movies, where it is about. It's about
an entire series built on trauma bonding.
I've always laughed that, like, in the second one, because they had written it that Val would come back with Earl in the original second one with Reba, and then they wrote it that, oh no, Val went off with Rhonda, and you're like, you examine that relationship and you're like, yeah, I don't know how long that lasted. It's like it's a lot harder to believe that. You're like, yeah, I mean, same thing with Earl and Kate. I'd always like to see you wind the clock forward a little bit, like, so 6 months after you guys were like trying to get eaten, you still together?
Mm-hmm. But like I said, the movies were a cultural phenomenon, and they have a rabid fan base. I am not entirely sure what happened with the whole Stampede incident, but I know that they got screwed.
Do you want me to explain it? I can do a short and sweet version of it, because it's really they literally made the idea. Steve Wilson and Brent Maddock made the idea of Tremors from the ground up, 1983 on to 2015, which is like 35, 40 years. And then Universal was like, no, and this is the only reason that they're given. Oh, we don't think that you're experienced enough with low budget movies, so you have to go. No, and that's Steve Wilson's quote all the time. Like, yeah, no. And then he's like, and he'll respond, so like, what was the last like 35 years of because if you tally it, they made 4 movies and a TV show for under $30 million. And then imagine how much money that's made.
I was going to say the first movie had a budget of what, $2?
They had 10 million, and they had to beg and scrape to get $1 extra million to film the car scene, the one where it goes down into the dirt, because they felt it was so pivotal that they legit Jim Jackson and Nancy Roberts like drove to Universal and were like, please, we need this money like to make our movie like properly. Can you like let us do it? But $11 million for the first one, $4 million for the second one, $5 million for the third one, and then I think again $4 million for the fourth one.
So in other words, their movies did well and they got less money the further into it they went.
This is the legit quote from Universal executives. We can sell an empty box named Tremors.
Right, because of the work that has been put in already.
And they were saying that in Tremors 2 already at that point. And yes, all that work that gets put into it, like people think that it's like, oh, it's just Ron Underwood because his name's on it, but it's always the big four. It's Nancy Roberts, Steve Wilson, Brent Maddock, and Ron Underwood. Those four right there, the Stampede team. That's always what I go back to. Made that idea from the ground up. And yeah, now they're selling an empty box named Tremors. And as you know from everything that ends up happening in later movies, like it's they make good on that word. They're selling an empty box named Tremors, and it hurts. And,
yeah, I did enjoy. I like, there isn't a bad movie in the series in my opinion. It's one of the few series that I like every movie, and I think it was just as strong as the one that came before it.
No hate. Like if you listen to my commentary podcast for 5, 6, and 7, I'm there to find the flaws, but I'm trying so hard to love it. And actually 6 is my favorite out of all 3 of those, just because that cast is having a fucking blast. Yeah. Wherever that cast is just high on life and loving doing a Tremors movie. Tremors 5 is similar. I can't hate Jamie Kennedy sometimes because I could tell he's happy to be there and he's trying his best. His best isn't very good. Like I'll give you that, but like he's trying his best, and I always have to appreciate that. And then even Tremors 7, my biggest complaint is that ending, and not that the ending happened, but that Michael Gross was opposed to it in any kind of sense. Like it's like that.
No, flat out spoilers. They should not have killed Michael Gross. Burt Gummer should still be in it.
If Michael Gross wanted out, I'm fine with that. That's totally cool. Hey man, thank you for all your years of Tremors. We love you. Awesome. But they came up to him and they were like, yeah, well, we think that this is just going to have an emotional punch and just make people cry and stuff. And he was like, well, I mean, you're just going to make people angry. Like this isn't really. And then even that whole thing where he fought to have a more ambiguous ending. And then there's even an alternate ending they shot that didn't use. But they completely disregard the ambiguity and go straight up, oh yeah, he's dead. Here's a montage that every time I watch that montage, I think Michael Gross died.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be like that, but I'm like, did they kill Michael Gross? Like, what the fuck?
When they introduced Jamie Kennedy, like right when they saw him, I looked at my mom and I was like, that's Burt Gummer's kid. And she was like, what? And I was like, that's Burt Gummer's kid. And she's like, no, they're not going to do that. I was like, mark my words. That is Burt Gummer's kid. It is an illegitimate child from some relationship that he had before he got with Reba. That is Burt Gummer's kid. And she's like, you're full of shit. So we're sitting there watching it and we get to the point where they reveal it. And she looks at me and goes, how the hell did you know that? I was like, Mom, I've been watching movies for a while. You don't introduce a character like Jamie Kennedy's character alongside Burt Gummer and not have people be like, yeah, wait a minute, they're related somehow.
Yeah. Like that honestly, I'd love Jamie Kennedy as anyone but Burt's son.
I liked him though.
No, like it's not him. It's just more like, I don't know, like it gets hard for me to buy eventually there, just like him actually being Burt's son. I don't hate Jamie Kennedy inside of it. It's just like that character seems poorly planned out.
I don't know, man. I've met some kids of some real strong conservative types, and he is like everything that is stereotypical.
You're like, that's where I'm having a hard time actually arguing with you on anything on that. Cause I'm like, I mean, the apple sometimes falls far from the tree. Like it's like, that's not. And I love Jamie for like irritating the hell out of Burt. Like,
oh yeah.
that's some of the that is some of the best. Like whenever you piss Michael Gross off, it's just great. Like I imagine this acting. I hope he's not actually pissing him off, but it's and that's part of why I don't like Seven, is that whole like, and maybe that's what I'm mad at here, is that there's like, oh, there's that legit arc happening for Jamie Kennedy's character that never gets completed. So we're just kind of like left like, oh man.
Yeah, I was fully expecting them to end, and an 8 would be like Jamie Kennedy and Michael Gross's character reuniting and going off to fight yet another new version of the Graboid.
Why not? Like that's what they teased at the end of 5 too. And oh yeah, we're gonna do a TV show of everybody doing it. As no.
And that was the other thing that I kind of dug about the later movies too, is like they added something to the Graboids, regardless of the rights and the bullshit that happened. I think that is one of the things that I enjoyed, is that like they added to them a little bit. They made each new worm slightly different.
I love that new Graboid design. My biggest problem with it is the mouth. I think you have to, like, with a Tremors monster or a Graboid, you've got to keep that mouth. That mandible is so
iconic.
But the rest of the body and the whole foamic acid and the termite stuff. And what's funny is that's actually from like ADI and Stampede's original notes for 5, because they were writing Tremors 5, and the idea was that it wasn't like a queen Graboid, but like just a bigger Australian wild version of it. And it's like, honestly, the only one I like the Shriekers in Shrieker Island too. Mm-hmm. And they keep the mandible, like the mandible gets close there, and I don't mind it. But that fucking ass blaster. The only thing I like about that is they hunt at night thing. They adding the vampire, or they're like vampires, and because I always see that complaint. Oh yeah, you couldn't see during the day because everything's so hot. Well, shit, you got a point. Let's hunt at night. So, well, there's some additions to it that I do like.
They were slowly writing themselves into a corner, though, because I mean, where do you go from here? Like everybody, even myself, was cracking the tongue-in-cheek joke. How long before they Graboids go to space?
Tremors. That's always my joke. Tremors.
Yep. They find out that they're actually a home planet Mars, and they're living under there, and that's why there's no life there, because they're the only thing that's there.
Writing it down. No, I've always thought it would be cool to actually, if you did the origins, because Tremors, the first Tremors is so great for not actually explaining them, that a great way to do the twist on that would be like, oh yeah, no, they're from the past and space. At the same, like a planet exploded or something, and then it sent little Graboid eggs and landed on our Earth. So that way you get like outer space and the past. Maybe add some radiation in there from some older dinosaur eras.
I was to say, you wouldn't even need necessarily eggs. Think about it. I mean, if you think about us, depending on what your stance is on where human and everything else came from, we all started from microscopic fucking entities that landed here and just evolved.
Tardigrade tremors. That's one that imagine, and that's why I said the radiation thing, where if they landed and they were super tiny, but then you do some like Godzilla level, like, oh, there was background radiation hundreds of millions of years ago and it made them get bigger. Like
they could have easily been the first creatures on this planet.
Yeah. We evolved from Graboid.
I've known a few people that have that weird mandible, so. But I like that's what it comes down to, is like, where would they gonna go anyways? Like that's the only reason, like, I'm not super mad that they kind of just killed the series with 7, is because where do you go from there?
Oh, see, this is where you got to watch Tremors, the series, because there's places to go, man. Oh, there's places to go.
Like where? Tell me.
Okay, straight up, this is what should have been done after Tremors 4. Start going to the past. Let's just fucking click it off, man. Before you ever get to space, just go everywhere you can in the past. Like, I mean, just go everywhere. Like Shaolin, Japan, or Germany in World War II, or that's actually really Nazi Graboids would be good.
It's not a bad idea.
Aztec graboids, or it's actually Egyptian graboids. That would be a good one. But just like honestly, just 4 proved that you can go, yeah, we just pick up this story and just say there are graboids happening here. And 5 even does it too with the whole South Africa thing. Like, oh, there's just a new threat. There's just a new threat over there. And now we deal with it. And that's where I'd love to see the past, because Tremors, like that, what I said, the whole working together thing, it only happens because nobody has everything. It's that whole, who has the lighter? Who's got the lighter? Who's got the cigarettes? And we got to work together to figure out what tools we can use.
Water graboids.
Oh yeah, sharkoids.
They're the reason Atlantis sank.
And
that's terrifying, honestly, a fish version of the graboids.
No, well, that's, if you watch Tremors the series, that's Mixmaster. Then you can add, like, it's actually the coolest plot device. You can add any DNA to anything.
Yeah.
So a squid graboid, or a cactus shrieker.
Yeah, if sci-fi can make Sharktopus, you can do anything.
I always feel bad for Nancy Roberts. Tells a story where the creator of Sharknado came up to her at a Comic-Con convention and was like, hey, you inspired me to make Sharknado. And she was like, that's so great, thank you so much, you know. And then, like, how do you respond to that? Like, I understand that you're trying to say that as a compliment, and, you know, maybe I'll go check out a Sharknado or 2 now, but shit.
It's like, one of those cases where you're like, oh honey, no.
Maybe there's some smarts to Sharknado. Maybe we shouldn't dismiss it. I don't know.
Look, those movies, it's not a matter of smarts. What it comes down to is those are great popcorn movies. You know, those are great. Turn off your brain, don't think too hard, and just watch craziness happen. Those are the kind of horror movies that I like anyways, like Killer Sofa, Attack of the Killer Donuts, Slacks. I will watch almost any terrible idea mishmash of a horror movie just because they tend to be great.
Yeah, a Sci-Fi Channel original movies. I can't hate them, man. I don't think I've ever seen a bad one. Like, I really go through it, and it's always like, even the worst have their merits.
If you want a wild ride and you haven't seen it yet, Fried Berry.
Fried Berry.
I do recommend some sort of psychedelic enhancement, though, before the movie.
I usually got to watch a movie first before I come back around to do that.
You know what? With Fried Berry, that's probably a good idea. Watch it first.
Because you just never know. That's always the worst thing to kick in mid-trip. Like, oh my God, is this movie ending? Am I real? Is this movie real?
You felt like you were tripping out anyways watching the movie, so you might not need any enhancement.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I was going to say, that's the walls back here. That's
So you said you're on episode 20 of Talking Tremors. How much have you covered of the Tremors series?
I started from the end, because everybody and their mother has talked about Tremors 1, 2, and 3. So I started with Tremors 7, Tremors 6, Tremors 5, and then I did a double episode, Tremors 5, and then the Gummer Down Under, because there's Bloodlines and Gummer Down Under. There's 2 separate scripts. And then I did the Kevin Bacon pilot, and I actually did 2 episodes for that. One was a whole behind the scenes of everything, and then the other was, I have the script. There's the script out there, so I just read the fucking thing. Just acted out all the parts of it or whatever, because it was like, here's a way for it to be out there. And now I'm working my way through Tremors the series.
Now, this movie is a cult classic. There's got to be, like, I don't know if a convention specifically for Tremors, but is there a meet and greet or a meetup for the fans or something every year somewhere?
Not that I know of. Honestly, the biggest thing that happens is a reunion. Like a cast reunion, like every 5 years, at least as far as I've noticed. Like, I know there was one for the 25th anniversary and one for the 30th anniversary. I've seen the Q&As for them, but that's as far as I know. I'm always waiting for Burt Gummer Day to become really big, and then that ends up happening.
Yeah, I don't want them to reboot the movies, but I kind of want more Tremors.
Oh no, that's where I say you don't have. There's no need to reboot Tremors, and we can even put off space for a while. Like I said, if you watch Tremors the series, you'll get a
don't go to space. Don't go to space.
And I have to credit Fast and the Furious 9 for the way they got to space and the lamp shading of it, and the way, like, they did a very clever, like, yeah, we know what we're doing and we know that you call us out for it, but you're still watching the fucking movie, so what are you gonna do?
Usually when they go to space is when you know that a series is out of ideas.
Yeah.
Jason X.
It's the last one. That's the season finale. You go to space. But no, I like, they're really not just the past, but then going to different places around the world and seeing how people like react to graboids in the present day. There's a great episode in the series where the people don't think that graboids are real, and they think that aliens are taking them. I just really like, and there's this whole, it's a great episode for Bert because they think he's a government plant, and I'd and I'd love an episode where like a MAGA town or something like that is just straight up like, oh no, we've seen the proof of the graboids and they're not real. The government's just taking our people. Like, just to really like update it all the way. And straight up, because there's like an endangered species like aspect to it, I'd love to see like the actual like corporate goings on of like, if you have a graboid and it's like dinosaurs, if you have something like that, what are the people like the actual conspiracies and the actual like machination people doing behind the scenes with them? Because you could get a lot done with a shrieker.
You know what the terrible idea I just thought of? A versus movie. Graboids versus the critters.
Oh yeah. Oh, grab. Yeah. Yes. And honestly, all those 80 movies need mashups like that. That's where tear down the walls, put them all together.
Graboids versus the Krites.
Graboids versus predators. Or actually, the one I always, graboids versus xenomorphs. I see that mashup so many times that I would love to.
That's a terrifying thought, because the xenomorphs will take on characteristics of whatever they incubate in. Could you imagine if a xenomorph, like if a face hugger was able to get on and incubate inside of a graboid and then burst out?
You got xenomorph shriekers, and they're just eating and reproducing and making
xenomorph ass blasters.
It would actually make an ass blaster threatening. The fire is actually acid too, just a double. But actually, you can look that up. Tremors and xenomorph art. There's tons of that.
So let me ask you, what's been the best moment so far of doing Talking Tremors?
Oh shit! I got to interview Glenn Maddox. That was huge. Brent Maddox's brother. He's been there since the beginning. As he says, just like running coffee. But nah. Shut up. You've been on set since the beginning. You know everything. No, that was great. Just actually getting to interview Glenn. I've got to talk to him a lot behind the scenes, but oh hey, making my people that make my favorite movie, or even when I'm emailing Steve, or like, oh my god, oh, you're right there. This is freaking me the fuck out. So that's, I don't know. I still get goosebumps from that. That's always fun. Or anytime I fuck up, it's actually becoming really interesting. Not because I didn't like, because I'm very meticulous and I'll plan something. So if something goes like awry, like, man, I can like switch on a dime, and I'm always really proud of myself at the end of the podcast episode. Like, well, son of a bitch, that worked out there.
I recovered well.
I did. The one guy wasn't able to play his PS3 to run an episode. I just turned it into a straight interview for just like 3 hours. And then the other one was the Burt Gummer guy's computer wasn't working for like his episode. So we were just like, turn it into another interview. Just turn it around.
That's good. Being able to think on the fly is definitely a much needed trait in what we do. I've talked to other podcasters, and I think because let's face it, man, we're entertainers. We're in the entertainment business. And I fully believe that a healthy understanding and appreciation for improv is needed. Because without it, when things go wrong, you have no idea what to do.
Oh no. And the key to good improv, preparing ahead of time.
It kind of defeats the purpose of improv.
Okay, so I really like you always just got to be like, I'm gonna plan for everything. It's like a Tremors movie. I'm gonna plan for everything because that one thing is gonna go wrong, but at least I had everything else planned so I can work around that.
Yeah, but I haven't found anything in podcasting yet that explosives are the answer.
No, man, I got no response to that one.
That's honestly was my biggest complaint in a lot of the Tremors movies too, is like they're always relying on guns, and guns don't work. Just blow them the fuck up.
Oh, I love you, Chris. Oh my God, I talk about this is a main point I bring up in like every Talking Tremors episode is you got the Burt Gummerites who, if you're on any kind of social media, you've seen the gun wall. You've seen other people's gun walls. You fucking know what I mean. Like, yep. They float, and I know that they're all thinking of Tremors. I know every single one of those fucking people is thinking of Tremors. And I know it because you don't have a gun wall like that, and you're not doing. Come on, we all.
Yeah, they're all just sitting there waiting to yell, "Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you?"
And you always see the gun wall, but you never see a pipe bomb collection. But you know what? The gun wall only killed one.
Technically illegal, Levi.
But it's more the gun wall kills one graboid, the pipe bombs kill two, and then even when you go throughout the other movies, like you said, the guns don't do jack shit.
Well, when he went to Africa and Australia, he couldn't take his guns with him, so he had to get guns while he was there. Why are you getting guns? Look, I need explosives. I need charges. I need everything but a gun.
RC cars and explosives.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That's all you need. It's a tried and true formula.
Then again, though, the movie would be super short because then you wouldn't have the trial and error of them shooting at the ground for no reason.
With just rifles too. So like, it's never a big ass like, oh, I brought a grenade launcher. It's just like rifles. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah, you didn't show up with an elephant gun. You showed up with a 12 gauge. What the hell do you expect to do?
It is dirt. Best goddamn bullet stop there is.
And they have an exoskeleton. They have protection to them. So,
especially those 5 through 7 ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are nuts.
So blow them up. Just call it a day.
I get really mad whenever I watch 7 because Burt goes to that island and doesn't bring any guns. So you're telling me that Burt Gummer, gunmaster extraordinaire, retired, and he didn't even bring a gun? You've been shoving guns on us this whole time, and he fucks off to an island, and there's not a single gun?
Yeah, that's a plot hole.
It's bullshit.
I often wonder too, because I don't remember it being really explained, but Burt and his wife, like, I always kind of wondered what exactly fell apart.
Well, Burt's a crazy person.
Well, Reba's character wasn't too sane either.
No. And there's actually a great bit at the end of the original 2 where they blow everything up, and Reba's like, "Oh, honey, I've been thinking about taking a vacation." "Oh yeah, well, where do you want to go?" "Well, there's this couple survival school down in like Venezuela or whatever. Like that's a 6-week intensive thing that we could go do." And that's how they end the second movie, with those two going off to do that. But how they introduce them is very much what they do in the one they filmed. And Burt's just sad. If you really like pull back, like Burt, if he didn't have the graboids and the shriekers and the ass blasters, he's got some problems, man. You shouldn't rely on a world war to give your life meaning. And like, it's not what.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain if it wasn't for the graboids, the ass blasters, and the shriekers, Burt would have probably used his gun wall on himself.
Yeah. Oh no, like it's that. And when they pull into him, and he's eating chips and he's just drinking and. Oh, Earl, yeah, no, we've been real busy, lots of projects. You're like, oh man, this is a sad man from what he was, and it really only continues downward. Honestly, I don't think the Burt character ever comes up. Maybe that's part of why I don't like how that whole 7 thing ends. There's no real like. good job, Bert. Thanks for everything. Even though you do kind of fuck up a little bit, but like, nope, it's just a down.
It's the montage. There's the thank you. The montage.
That they don't even include Tremors the series in that.
No, it's a piss poor salute. Yeah, it's a piss poor montage.
They got Hiram, and I'm always mad too if you do, because I legit did a count when I was first doing my research for all the Tremors stuff, and they show 2, 3, and 4. There's like 2 or 3 clips from them as part of the montage, but then 5, 6, and 7 each get like 5 and 6 clips, and I'm like those movies are only there because of the ones before it. Respect them. Like, yeah. don't push them off. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, they want to promote their empty box.
I know that too. That's what pisses me off, man.
So let me ask you this: Dreamcasting, they're doing a reboot of Tremors. They are sticking with the same similar story. Michael Gross is of course back as Burt Gummer, but you can recast everyone else. Who do you go with?
Do I have to recast? Because I wouldn't. There's so much I would do. But if I forced to recast, it's the simple John Bernthal as Earl Bassett.
Yeah, I could see that.
I agree with everybody else on the internet on that one. Like, that's just duh. And then a left fielder. I love Christian Kane as Val. I like him as an actor. I like to see that in there. If you're gonna reboot it and do that, I'm gonna make it long term at least. Like, have some people. But shit, man. And then, now I gotta reboot. Now I gotta recast No, I don't like this question. I keep it all the same, and instead John Bernthal is Fred Ward's son. That's actually the easier thing in my mind. Like, oh yeah, he's just Earl and Kate's kid. Now we got John Bernthal in Tremors.
Yeah, not quite a reboot. There's a term for it, but I forget what it is. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake. But there is an actual term for it. A requel. It's called a requel.
Yeah, requel. What Scream did. Yeah.
Which Scream, absolute fantastic series all the way through. Another one of those ones where each movie has been just as good, if not better, than the last that came before it.
I really need to get back into Scream.
It's my wife's favorite series.
It's a great meta horror franchise. Like, even as a kid,
that's something that I wouldn't mind seeing if they do any more Tremors movies, is start poking fun at themselves a little bit.
Dude, this is where you got to watch Tremors the series, because it was getting there, man. Where it was just like they knew what was happening. They'd already been through everything, and we're just like, no, we're just gonna write this because we know that they don't really care. They just want something on the screen. And Stampede was able to throw in a few last jabs with Tremors the series and go meta with it. Like, it's because it's already kind of there. Like, when you watch the originals, those first 4 or whatever, like, it gets there. Like, they know what they're doing in a really great winking way. That's kind of why I love them.
Well, especially with the second one where they were like, well, let's do the video game. Let's do a video game. And it's like, come on now.
And it's funny you say that, because that's a legit. That's Steve. All the time on the Stampede Entertainment fact site, people are always like, "Where's the Tremors game? Where's the Tremors game? Where's the Tremors game?" That's legit Steve and Brent being like, "Yeah, we had to, like, we sold our rights away, and we could have had a fucking video game, but damn it, we didn't." And that is legit meta commentary on their situation with Universal, like that. I mean, like, that's a legit one. That's what I mean. Like, it was already there. They were already doing it before everything turned.
Now, see, honestly, I'd like to talk to Steve and Brent. I've tried. I've sent messages through Stampede, and they said, well, we'll talk to them and see, but you should talk to Levi.
I always like to, after I actually podcast with somebody, I usually send them an email or whatever. So I'm going to make sure to send them your email too, just because Steve is so hard to get to. And he does say, I do read your emails when they come in. It's just a matter of just like everything else is happening.
Well, yeah.
Because here's a good thing. They're actually working on a regular script. They're shopping out. They're trying to get one sold and pitched out to studios right now. So I think they're actually busy.
like regular script, as in not horror movie, like real movie, not real movie, but
not a Tremors movie is what I mean. Like
okay.
they have their own ideas. Actually, it's Ron Underwood, because he's been directing Once Upon a Time, has been like, hey, can you guys like let's work out something here? And
I hope
so
they create a new monster.
So actually, I think my best guess is they're doing one that's a sci-fi movie without visual effects, so there won't be a monster, or if there is, you won't see it in any sense.
Well, when you say visual effects, you mean like not digital, or not practical, or not at all?
Not anything. Yeah, no, I know, right? No, and Ron, and this is where Ron like halfway pitched it to him, because they come from, that's their whole background is stop motion animation and puppet stuff. One of the things that makes them more money than Tremors is this 15-minute short about a dictionary library book, reading to a kid and teaching him how to use the dictionary. So, and it's all stop motion animation. So that like that's where they come from. And Ron was like, "Can you write us a script that has no visual effects or anything like that?" And I think that's the one that they're working on and shopping around right now. Like that's the one Steve was talking the most recently about. So I'm just like, ooh,
see,
what the fuck?
That's the thing that I always respected too about the first two movies, because once the Ass Blasters came into creation, it was a little bit harder. But like, I'm a fan of practical effects. I don't mind digital effects. I get that they have their place, but realistically, I like rubber monsters. I rubber, latex, fake blood, corn syrup. I got a friend of mine, his name is Joe Castro, and he is a special effects artist. And every project that he works on, he's done a lot of those sci-fi movies that you like too, by the way. Every project that he's working on is usually a practical effects. He started getting more into digital effects, to help the practical effects stand up, but he is still very much a rubber and latex monster maker.
I feel you have to have that, especially with a monster movie. You use the digital effects to enhance it. I always think if something has to move at speed, that's usually when you got to add some digital.
Well, yeah. the graboids in the later movies, 5, 6, and 7, they weren't as scary. I maybe it's because I knew they were digital, but even then I knew that the fucking graboids in the first one, they weren't real. But I don't know, there's something in my opinion that gets lost with digital effects.
They legit jumped the shark in that 5th movie when that graboid jumps out of the ground.
Yeah,
because the physical, it's so weird. The practical effect is all about the physics of it. You can use a computer to generate as much as you can, but sometimes that light on an object in the real world sells something so much greater than what you could ever make on a computer. And that's no knock. I've seen some great shit on a computer. Like it's so hard to say that, but it's like, man, I will always go a practical physical effect for its real world applications.
Less is more.
Yeah.
That's the magic of the first movie, is you don't really get to see the graboid until like the 3rd act, essentially. And even then you don't see much of it.
No, it's always hidden. And that's partly why they did it. Like I said, they come from that physical effects background. They were doing that graboid under the ground because you can save money. You don't have to use that. Was all part of it. Like that was the smarts of it. And to really what they did too is amazing. And there's something with practical. You can keep using it. Like if you're on set and you're like, oh hey, we want to pick up this shot of this over here. We're over here doing this, and that's where the hand puppet. I always laugh because ADI kind of scoffed at Stampede when they said, hey, yeah, we need a hand puppet. We're going to need a hand puppet for a couple of shots. And Tom Woodruff and Alec Gillis were like, I mean, I don't know, like, does that really work with what we're doing here? They ended up using the hand puppet more than they did anything else, because you could just great little like pick up shots. Oh, that one grabbed. Like when you're watching the first one, especially, just notice how much they use that. They use the hand puppet to do things and give you that visual of it's under the ground, it's doing what it needs to. You don't need to see the rest. You got it. And that first it's on the bumper reveal. Oh, that's what it is. It's just a long snake. Nope. Fuck you.
Nope. It's a long, big worm.
It's a giant penis. It's not a metaphor, but it is a giant penis. It's not a metaphor. I know that much. There's no.
Everything's a metaphor for a penis.
I mean, they did originally look more phallic too. They had to pull back on the. They had a hood. They had a foreskin hood. That's a legit.
I know I follow them on TikTok. The Tremor Saga on TikTok, and I am definitely enjoying some of the behind the scenes stuff that they post.
Oh, I'm always amazed that like worked out for them. Like I didn't think TikTok would be where Tremors like took off or whatever. But if you like them too, the TikTok Graboid, I actually had him on an episode of the podcast. Like he's been doing Tremors TikTok for like the last 2 years actually, and it's not behind the scenes stuff. He actually does like really funny bits with Tremors.
That's awesome.
Like one of my favorites is the Tremors 2, and they're running up and they see the Shriekers, and the Shriekers open their mouth, and it's Mariah Carey's that Christmas song that everybody.
Oh yeah.
And it's coming out of their mouth instead. Truly inspired art.
I would rickroll with it.
Yeah. Man, and the Burt Gummer memes too, dude. Like the Tremors fans are crazy that way. Like if you never checked out the Burt Gummer meme stash, there's like
I have. Yeah.
That's a weird place, man.
You know, I if I get a chance to talk to him, I'm definitely going to have to ask at some point, you know, did you ever think that this would be where you were, like the rabid fan base for this movie?
The answer
I know the answer. Yeah.
The answer is emphatically no.
I'm pretty sure that they thought that movie would just die and never be talked about again.
No, see, I think they thought it was going to be a great standalone. From everything that I get from it, it was their one, like, yeah, we're going to have an awesome passion project. The idea of sequels was nowhere near there. And it was just going to be their one, like, yeah, we did something awesome. And they did. They're always proud of it. So I always love that. Yeah, it worked. And then they got a huge return on their investment.
Can you do more for less?
Yeah. That's, like I said, that's the legit quote. If you've never read the Graffiti with Punctuation, or Hollywood Unseen did a great article for the Gummer Down Under. And yeah, like he just talked to Steve, and just it breaks my heart. I just want to fucking kill something sometimes.
Hey, Levi. Tell me a story.
You know, it's funny that you say I really just want to fucking kill myself sometimes. Because the whole like reason that I am a diehard for Stampede and everything that they've done is that I too have personally been kicked out of an organization that I helped create. I directed my first show actually 5 years ago now that I'm thinking about it. 12 Angry Jurors, which is a mixed cast. And I directed it with my wife, and her and I have actually been, or were, creating the theater scene in our little small town. We actually just had a new theater built, and over the last 10 years or whatever, we've been helping build it up, doing shows, everything behind the scenes. And we directed our first show. It went great or whatever. And then the board of what is supposed to be a public building didn't like that my wife had written a note that said they were treating us unfairly while we were doing things, and had an entire meeting without us where they involved the cops and banned us indefinitely from life from the building that we helped create. And didn't find out about it until the cops showed up at our door 3 days later and served us you're banned from life. Like, okay, that sucks. And then 6 months later, the theater group that was a part of that and working with them, oh, hey, we're going to ban you from our group too. And so we got kicked out of that until they're like, oh, no, actually, we want you back. Actually, they didn't ban us. They were like, oh, no, you can't be on stage. You can only help out behind the scenes. And it was just kind of, we were both pissed because that's what we normally did. We're huge backstage people, technicians, all that jazz. And it was like, so like, who cares about being like, to put all that focus on the onstage stuff, and then, oh yeah, you can do the backstage stuff. That's what you're worthy of is like, as a techie, you can go fuck yourself. That stuff's more important. There's a little bit of offense to that. And still to this day, we're banned. My nephews go to school in town here, and they have a recital at this theater. We can't even go to like see their concerts. And there's no recourse that we really have for this. You talk to lawyers, and they're just like, you're trying to fight because this public building is tied into a bank. So ending up fighting this bank theater public building is a whole headache of whatever. And the worst part is that it's quite literally half a mile from my house, and we have to drive by it to get into town.
Ouch.
So we see it nearly every single day. So when I found out what the fuck happened to Stampede Tremors, man, I was like, flag planted, motherfucker. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, I can understand trying to fight a bank-owned entity. You know, they literally have all the money.
Yeah, that's what the lawyer said. Like, it's just, I mean, you can, but do you want to go through the headache? You're like, 5 years later, I almost wish. Now I'm like, I kind of want to say yes. Like, actually, the tremor stuff gives me more confidence to do that all the time, because it's like, no, I have value, I have worth. Maybe that's why I'm podcasting, because I haven't been able to get it out. So it's like, no, I can do this, and I'm not a bad person. Shut the fuck up over there. You don't leave me be, people.
Well, are you and the wife still like writing plays and scripting and stuff?
Honestly, trying to. That's where I said that I'm so lucky to have Tremors in the podcasting or whatever. It's a lot harder for her. Like, she doesn't have anything like that. Actually, I'm getting her on an episode of Talking Tremors. We're gonna watch it, one of the episodes of Tremors, the series, together, just to try to restart something. And it's hard. I don't blame. Like, it's just hard. I don't blame her. Like I said, if I didn't have Tremors, I would be in the same rut.
Well, I have faith that together you two will find your way.
Well, thank you. We've been together like 12 years now, so we've been through a lot of adversity. So
life likes to kick us creative types in the nuts on a regular basis.
The best ones too. It's never the best, it's never the shitty ones. Like, it's always the ones doing all the work. Like I said, that thing about, oh yeah, you can do behind the scenes stuff. That's what we were doing before. And fuck you for saying that that's lesser. Like,
yeah. Well, my only experience was I was stage manager for a high school play, and I know how much time, effort, and work goes into the behind the scenes in order so the scenes go well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you don't have techies, you don't have lights, you don't have sound. Good night, Irene.
Yeah, if you don't have a stage crew, you don't have sets, you don't have costumes, you don't have props, you don't have anything. You got a bunch of people standing around with scripts in their hand trying to imagine what everything looks like.
I love when you listen to those lost tapes, like the Tremors lost tapes. Steve is always harping on it's an everybody thing. Like, I'll always say it's Nancy, Ron, Brent, and Steve as the main four. But man, it was everybody. Everybody, we're all pitching in. There's no lower jobs here. Everybody's grab a shovel and do it.
Yep. A lasagna has many, many ingredients.
Oh, damn it. Now I want lasagna.
All right, Levi, you've made it through most of my questioning and our conversation, and you also have given me a story, which I thank you for. It is time, if you're ready, to play Interview Roulette.
Let's go.
I don't know if you'll need that.
Okay.
All right, before the interview got started, I had you pick 5 random numbers, 1 to 250, and these are the questions that correspond with the numbers you picked.
Oh!
First one, who do you view as an unsung hero of the music or film industry?
You said of the music or film industry?
Yep.
I got it. It's cliche, but Stampede. I'm sorry. Like, if I got to pick and I'll pick one person, and I really do mean it. Steve Wilson. Steve S.S. Wilson, fucking behind the scenes, everything that he does to still try to keep Tremors out there. Unsung hero. of Hollywood. And honestly, from listening to other podcasts of people that know Stampede in the industry, that's usually what you get. Like they are shining gems of like, if you want to do Hollywood, that's how you do it, right? And so Steve Wilson, unsung hero.
Awesome. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay, and why?
I used to hate it, but now I'm into it, yo. It's the sweet and I did. I was like, no. Same thing with sauerkraut on pizza. There's the sweet and the tang. Something about it. Umami. That's the word.
Yeah. Do you have a musical influence that would come as a surprise to most people?
Trying to think of one that's surprising. Muse. That's always Muse is my muse sometimes. I would go, yeah, because Muse is dope. I'm just hearing songs in their heads now. So Muse.
If you could choose one song to play every time you entered a room for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, just to hear Bohemian Rhapsody every time I'm in. Like I'm into that. If I could listen to that song all day long. Yeah, do that.
Just every time you walk into a room, is this the real life? And that's all I can do because YouTube will take me down. I'm right there with you. What's funny is I don't have enough followers yet on YouTube or subscribers yet on YouTube to even think about monetizing. Okay. And every so often, because the show has music in it, I work with independent artists. Every so often they'll be like, oh, you can't monetize it. I'll be like, fuck you, I can't monetize it anyways. What do you they're like, choose what you want to do. You can fight it, you can mute it, or you can just let it be. And if you let it be, we're gonna run ads on it. Well, fine, fucking run ads on it. Just don't fuck up my shit.
Yeah, just don't take it down.
Yeah. So hey, YouTube, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, and the last question from Interview Roulette. What is the most ridiculous fact you know?
Oh man. Okay. I'm just gonna start. My brain's going through so many. The Stargate SG-1 has a theme song with lyrics to it.
Does it?
Oh, do you like Stargate?
I do.
Okay. Hold on.
These aren't lyrics that you wrote, are they?
This is where I was trying to, like, my brain just popped. It's Stargate's on downstairs. That's why I'm thinking of it. But Stargate, it's a crazy world. There you step with a great big swirl that you step into and you go to other worlds. We're talking Stargate.
All right, you're gonna have to send me a link to the actual song because otherwise, I think these are just lyrics you created. Because
this is the Brad Wright, Joseph Valazzi, Brad Cooper, all the people like behind the scenes. There's Colonel O'Neill.
wow.
And Teal. I'm not joking. I will send that to you.
Please do. All right, Levi. That's it. That's all I've got for you. I want to thank you for being my guest.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. This has been awesome.
And I'm going to put links with it, but go ahead and plug Talking Tremors. Tell them where they can find it.
Talking Tremors on all your podcasting sites. I usually let at the Tremor Saga do anything. That's usually their bit. I'll edit it out. They'll take it, reformat it, do what they need to it. But always look at the Tremor Saga. Or Talking Tremors. Usually there's hashtags for it and shit. Or just me at Omegan Smiles. That's usually where I'm at on things and stuff. But yeah, Tremors. If you look up Tremors, you'll probably find me. The Tremors Saga, Talking Tremors, any of these.
And my listeners know, or my fans know, that I will provide tons of links for you to go seek out and find not only the Tremors Saga, but Levi. And I'm also going to post a link to the episodes for the Tremors series because I know they're on Vimeo.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I was just realizing those are the widescreens, too. Because I've been watching the episodes on DVD for playback. and they're box cut. And then I was looking at them on video and it's like, what the fuck? There's a whole extra 12 inches of frame here that they cut out. Like, so Vimeo's got the good version. Don't buy the DVD. Go download it off Vimeo.
And for those of you out there watching or listening, we all know how much an extra 12 inches makes us feel.
Dude, you couldn't get penetration even with your elephant gun.